Hey everybody, I'm back, video 30 of 365, and I'm doing a video every day for a year to get over my fear of public speaking and just refine the message I'm trying to create. And so, yeah, I'm a therapist and I love talking about self-concept and manifestation and the law of assumption and just all that fun stuff. So, today is going to be a little ranty, I think, mixed in with some other things that I've been thinking about today. I can't tell you how amazing this experience is. For those of you who are looking to better your life, I know this sounds strange, but getting on YouTube has bettered my life in ways that I didn't think that it would. And I'm only like a month in to my challenge. So it's really helping me because people are, well, liking and subscribing. That's really cool. I'm at 127 subscribers, which is just awesome. And thank you all for subscribing and for listening to me. I really appreciate you. And I hope that there's even just one little thing that you can take with you out of each video to remember who you are and help you along your life's journey, because it can be hard sometimes. So I've been learning more and more about myself, and I had a very interesting comment from someone who I really appreciate. I love this comment so much, and I wrote a bunch of notes. It just got me thinking. I just love to hear what people are thinking about because it challenges me to get more clear and concise with what I'm trying to do, and I really appreciate it. And this comment, it's funny because this is a reason why I didn't start YouTube too, because being a therapist, you have to be pretty private because all the sessions are confidential, of course. And I also have this clinical side of me that is therapy that I learned in school. And then there's this, more, magical, mystical side, spiritual side, who knows about the universal laws and quantum physics and just physics in general, that doesn't really jive very well with some of the, therapeutic techniques. And so I'm a licensed clinical social worker and have been for 11 years. And before that, I hadn't worked in the field. I had been in therapy as a child and as an adult, but I had never, practiced with people except for people would come to me with their problems all the time. So I was probably a therapist ever since I was a kid. So, I've really enjoyed it. And as a social worker, we learned how to help a person, like a whole person, like person and environment. So you're looking at their environment, you're looking at their job, you're looking at their trauma, their current issues going on, you're looking at family. I mean, you're looking at everything that could affect the person mentally is what a social worker kind of looks into. That's how we were taught in our schooling. So with the schooling, there's so many rules, there's so many rules with a license, a state license, and having one of those. And, there's ethics and there's boundaries and there's all these things that we have to learn as therapists. And so someone commented, if someone has stage 4 cancer, can they just manifest being cancer-free by imagining it? I do not say this to be harsh at all. I really love you. Thank you. I love you too. And your videos, and I know you are a force of good, but I am surprised as a licensed therapist, you resort to magical thinking instead of real life techniques. Not saying all your advice is magical thinking, by the way. Lots of it is rock solid. Thank you so much. So this was very interesting because, first of all, like I just said, it's like I have the therapist side of me and then I have the spiritual side of me. And you can't really bring all of that into a therapy session. It doesn't, it's not really, that's not what I do. That's why I have this channel because I know what I know and I can't always bring everything I know into a therapy session. I don't structure my sessions with, talking about Neville Goddard and imagination. I don't do that. That's why I kind of wanted to do more coaching because I can do that in those with people who are more aligned with that. But what I do with people in therapy, is like even today, I had someone struggling with insomnia, and most of the time insomnia, most of the time, unless it's like a medical issue or something, is someone is anxious and they can't fall asleep. So what's causing you to be anxious? And then we figure out what that is. And then from there, it's basically the body doesn't feel safe enough to fall asleep because the nervous system's out of whack. It's in fight or flight for some reason. The mind is spinning around, trying to find a solution to the problem. But there is no solution to the problem at that moment because it's bedtime. It's time to go to sleep and restore. So you're imagining 24/7 anyway. That's not really magical thinking at all. I just say magical thinking a lot because to me it's like, whoa, this is like magic, but it's really not magic. It's just our imagination is creating our perception. Our perception is what this is. We're perceiving the world as we perceive it personally. So I told her that we imagine things all the time and that her anxiety, she's imagining from her thoughts, and she's creating a scene in her mind, basically, that is allowing for the anxiety to manifest. And so how we change that is we just start imagining something else on purpose. We don't really imagine on purpose too much. We imagine by default. It just kind of happens because at least 95% of what I've seen, 95% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday. So that's why a lot of people say they're stuck or they have the same problems every day because the thinking hasn't changed much. So it does feel like you're stuck. So when you change your thinking deliberately and have a new intention set for, okay, I was feeling anxiety before, and now tonight I'm going to work on feeling, no anxiety, or work on feeling, happy, or whatever the case is, because the brain is looking for a solution. So you got to give it a solution. You have to tell it what to think. And so she picked out some scenes she would imagine, and she thought that made total sense. I don't really use law of assumption. I don't say that. I just I'll bring in certain little techniques like using your imagination. That's a technique. I mean, that's visualization basically. But I just say, you're imagining something all the time. So why not use it to your advantage and teach your body how to not have anxiety, because you can generate a feeling within from just imagining something. So that's the basis of my teachings. It really, truly is. The law of assumption is, what you assume you will see reflected back. I mean, that's the gist of it, really. But if we want to just be plain and simple with things, it's like you choose how you want to feel, you choose who you want to be, and you start aligning your thoughts and behaviors with that type of person. And then you just watch. Because for anyone who doesn't believe in anything that I'm saying, or they do, it doesn't, it's either way. But I encourage you all to try it because it works. And you're only going to see if it works if you actually try it. Because I also say, don't trust anybody else's data. Like, create your own data. It's fun to do that, because then you can be like even more surprised. But yes, the stage 4 cancer thing, I would say yes, if it's relevant to that person's soul. I think that there's this whole other side where I think with the soul knows, the higher self knows what we actually need to develop certain skills to be able to learn and navigate through life. So if someone has stage 4 cancer, they might be ready to go. Their soul might be like, yeah, it's time to go. And then you're co-creating with other people. So your life isn't just about your life, technically. It's like you're affecting everybody around you. And so if you have cancer, it's like, well, you're going to provide a job for a nurse, and you're going to provide a job for a doctor, and you're providing, these new skills that your kids or wife or husband or whoever around you wouldn't have had otherwise going through this experience. So there's different ways to look at, something such as cancer. But if you look up Joe Dispenza, he's the chiropractor. He was a chiropractor back in the day. He healed his spinal cord injury through meditation, and he does all these retreats and uses meditation to, these people heal themselves. I mean, either they can do it at home or at the retreat. It's so cool. I've never been. I really want to go. I'd love to go this year, but they're always sold out by the time I can order a ticket. So, but there's been people, there was a woman that was on there talking about her thyroid and how she had it taken out, literally taken out surgically, and regrew it. So there are, to me, it's like these types of stories, and then like near-death experiences, all the stories that I've heard that all jive, they all go together. when I hear those, that's kind of what I look at. I'm like, okay, that is possible for them. So there's got to be something to this, and I'm not saying I have all the answers ever. I mean, I never have all the answers, but I do want to share, what I believe and what my experiences have been and other people around me. And so, yes, my therapy stuff is totally separate from this, but I do bring in some, like, let's use the imagination to create a different feeling, because, when you're anxious or depressed or you have insomnia, you've created, something in your mind that has generated your body feeling that. And your body's a chemical factory. So it's going to send cortisol and adrenaline throughout your body and tell you that you're in fight or flight, that there's danger, when you're really just going to bed. And so I also told her to put her hand on her heart and say, I am safe, and just repeat that and do some breathing exercises to be able to, flush that out. So, it's just, I use a lot of nervous system calming, and you can't tell a lot of people. I mean, people that come in for therapy, they're not expecting you to talk about manifestation. But there are people that really are into that. And if they are, then we get to talking about that stuff and have a great time. But yeah, a therapy session is definitely structured differently than a coaching session with me is. So, but I love talking about this stuff. So I'm going to continue doing it, and whoever wants to listen can listen. But I love your comment, because it got me also thinking about like how I haven't been able to be on YouTube because I thought people would judge me for this reason. Like, well, you're supposed to be a therapist. Not that you said it like this. I know you didn't say this like this, but you're supposed to be a therapist, like, why are you going against everything that, a book says or whatever? And that's the point. It's like, I noticed too many patterns in people that just didn't make sense. And the books I was using and the techniques I learned in school were just not really working. And so, after seeing, a couple hundred people over the years, you see patterns where the book stuff isn't working, and they don't want a book. They want a person to connect with them. And so I learned different ways to connect with people, using God, or using, the universe, or manifestation sometimes, or just plain old, let's breathe. Breathe properly. And what are we aware of? Where are our thoughts? Where are we investing our energy and our thoughts during the day? Because whatever you invest in is going to get bigger. So are you investing in something that serves you or something that hurts you? So that's where I go with some of this stuff. I weave it in there without, using the terms like manifestation and stuff like that. So, but that's why I didn't start YouTube for a while too, because I thought people would judge me. And that's why I think self-concept is so important, because I changed my self-concept so that I would be brave enough to come on here and talk and not be swayed by anybody else's opinions. And so, I'm proud of myself for that I was able to do that. And I love and welcome any type of debate on any of this stuff. I mean, I really do, because it helps me refine what I'm doing. And I had a new client today, and I got to use some different skills that I haven't used in a while. And I learned what worked and what didn't for this person, because you can't just say certain things to certain people. Each session is individualized. I mean, it's specifically personalized for that person. And so I could say the same thing to 10 different people, but they're all going to hear it differently, because again, we live by perception. So your perception is your reality. I mean, I think that used to be on posters at school when we were young. I mean, I used to see that somewhere. I know I did. Perception is reality. And so if we just consider just that one statement, if your perception is your reality, then that means that how you're perceiving things is what you believe is true. That is true for you. It's not true for anybody else, because they can't see what you're seeing, because it's your own lens, So, and I had some other notes here. And yes, I want to spread positivity, because it's almost sickening now, because I really look at everything through a positive lens, because I know what pain feels like to infinity. I know what pain feels like. I know what despair feels like. And I've seen too many people. I've witnessed them being in pain for a long period of time. And so throughout my years, I just wanted to learn how to teach people how to be present and how to be happy. And I always had questions, how do we do that? How do we, maintain a stability about us and not knee-jerk react to every little thing, and actually, enjoy life, because all you ever hear is complaining. I mean, that's all you ever hear. And then people are like, well, but I do love my life and everything is great. But that's not really what's going on underneath. Your brain and body are thinking that you're complaining and you're not happy. And so you're going to have issues from that. So, and you're not actually in gratitude and you're not actually in appreciation. So I encourage people to stay there, as stable as you can be. When you don't like something, say, no, I'm learning to love this. This is showing up for a reason. There is value in insomnia. There is value in cancer. There is value in every situation if you find it. And you just ask yourself, you talk to yourself, you get very quiet and go within your mind and talk to yourself and really hear what comes up. And you can talk to your angels, or you can talk to God, or you can talk to anybody, talk to your passed away loved ones, just even if you're just pretending to talk to them, just act like you are and see what happens. Because once you slow down the monkey mind of the human being, you let the soul come up and kind of talk to you, the inner being, the higher self, whatever you want to call it. And you get messages that just come up out of nowhere. I mean, I got the idea to do everything I'm doing right now through just like quieting my mind. And these things just came to me, and the timing of all this came to me. But I had to be brave, and I had to believe in myself to even do this. I mean, this is not something that just anybody can do, I think. You have to really believe in yourself. But I take that back. Anybody can do this. It's just, if you believe you can't, you won't. And I think there's a lot of people out there that have value to give to the world, and they're not doing it because they're afraid of being judged, or they're afraid of comments. I love getting comments. Keep them coming. Every morning I get an email that shows me that I've got a comment, and I'm like, wow, like every day I've got like 7 or 8 comments. I'm like, this is amazing. And I've only got 127 subscribers. So I have a feeling I'm going to get busy with comments someday, which I welcome and love so much. And let's see, what else? Like withdrawing from material senses. I think that's what I want to talk about too, is like meditation is withdrawing from the senses, and it's going into your imagination to create it's basically generating feelings from not having something, because you're doing it anyway. That's what anxiety is. It's like you're addicted to worrying is what it is. It's just addicted to worrying. If I worry, I'm actually doing something. I'm doing something about my problem if I'm worrying. But it's like, what would you be like if you didn't worry? Have you ever thought about that? What would I be like if I didn't worry? We're addicted to that. The brain is addicted. It's just going to keep looking for the solutions. You have to tell it what to think. And it will start going that way when you create a new neural pathway, because you got these neural pathways that are all connected and they're used to you thinking the way that you think. Everything that you believe right now is a neural pathway. It's just like, view it like that. Like, it's on a neural pathway. It's created. It's going to go that way automatically unless you change it. These are beliefs about yourself. Like if I thought that I sucked at talking on camera, I would never get on camera, because I wouldn't be able to do it. But one day I was like, you know what? Even if I do suck, I'm going to practice every day, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to believe in myself no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody thinks. I'm going to keep going for me. And I know that along the journey of this, I'm going to end up helping, hopefully, a lot of people. That's my goal. And so that's why I stick with this. And I was terrified. I really was. And I was terrified of other people's judgment, which who cares? In the grand scheme of things, who cares? Because no one knows you like you know you. And if you don't know you, get to know you, because you're amazing. So you got to get to know that you're amazing, because your whole life is being seen through your lens. And I think a big thing for me was I didn't feel safe in the world because of all the abuse I had suffered. And just throughout the years, I just kind of holed up, and then I became a therapist. So that's super private. So I just became so private and just going through so many things that didn't make me feel safe. And so something about doing YouTube is making me feel safe. It's making me feel seen and feel safe enough to be seen, which is really interesting. And they say, you can't get confidence after doing something. You have to get confidence before. You have to generate that confidence first and believe in yourself. And then your confidence is like through the roof eventually. I mean, I feel like I could possibly get on a stage and talk to people now. 100%, that would be a negatory negative. Like, you couldn't pay me money to do that. You just couldn't pay me to do that. Now you could pay me handsomely and I'd take it and I would do it. And I wouldn't care if I embarrassed myself or stumbled, because I know I stumble sometimes and I ramble, and that's just how my brain goes. And I know there's people out there that appreciate things like that in a real person versus somebody that's like really rehearsed. I'm not a rehearsed person, as you can probably tell, because I've got notes written all over and I'm just trying to figure out where they go. And, but yeah, oh gosh, there's so many other things I could say, but I just really appreciate all of you. Oh, I remember, yes, one more thing. Back to the cancer and just things that, health issues and things like that. I think that just, again, whatever is relevant for us to learn, that's what we're here to learn. So what's relevant to you isn't relevant to me and vice versa. It's just, I think some people need the experiences they're going through because there's value for them to get from it. There's some sort of wisdom that they're going to take. So I did tell a client today, when you're feeling insomnia, when you're dealing with that, look for the value. What is the value in this? Because there's value in everything. We just don't think there is, because everything is essentially neutral. Every event is neutral. It does not have a meaning until we give it a meaning. So if we give it a meaning that it's bad or good, we gave it that meaning. And so you get to decide which way it is. And that's what you will become, And so the more you give a good meaning to everything, which is, I'm here to gain some wisdom from this event. What would that be? What's the value in this for me? Because there's something here to show me something about myself. What would it be? And then you move on from there. And that's how I think. That is how I think. And it has helped me exponentially in so many areas. And I just want to keep passing this on. I've got so many more cool things. I think my remote died, so I'm gonna have to put my arm up and turn the camera off. But yeah, we're going to keep having fun with this stuff and keep the questions and comments coming, because I'll probably respond to them in a video, because I have more to add. But I think this is the longest video I've ever done, and I could ramble and ramble and ramble. I'm going to have to start a podcast. I'm just going to have to start a podcast, and I will be. So for anybody that wants to listen to me ramble, so I'll be happy to do that. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful day or night, whatever time it is where you are. And I love you all. Thank you so much for subscribing and pushing me forward. And I'm just loving every minute of this. Get on YouTube. Just do it. If you're on the fence and you're scared, if I can do it, I promise you can do it. I promise you can do it if I can do it. Promise, like 100%. And yeah, you guys enjoy yourselves and believe in yourself and start affirming that I am powerful. I'm amazing. I'm loving. I am love. You are love. Remember that. You are love, pure love. And pure joy. You are joy and love and everything great. And I could go on and on. I'll shut up now. You guys have a great day. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.